Hello, everybody. My name is Rabbi Jeff, the Executive Director of The Well, and I am here today for Reflect for Rosh with Rabbi Matt Zerwekh. Hello, Matt.
Hey, Jeff. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Fun fact here about Matt and I. We've actually known each other since 2004?
2004, yeah, or 4 or 5, yeah.
And I love saying this, we met in Malibu.
It's true. Well, we were both summering there.
We were summering in Malibu at a camp. A summer camp, a Jewish summer camp. Anyhow, it's good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you.
So for Reflect for Rosh, we're reflecting on these different sefirot that are leading up to Rosh Hashanah, and we're doing it around the theme of music. So question one is, what is on your playlist this week? What music this week has been sort of giving you some meaning?
There are 3 sorts of music genres that are kind of woven through my mind right now.
Okay.
The first is Dave Matthews Band, because it's one of my favorite bands, and I'll be going to the concert this coming week. More importantly, those traditional high holiday tunes just gets me ready for high holidays. They're stuck in my head, and I'll be humming, those big Lewandowski written tunes. That it just helps me get in that mindset.
Yeah.
The other piece of music I've been listening to a lot of is pretty much any dance music. My daughter is 5 and she loves dancing. So some dancing with my daughter. Recently it's been Moana in Korean. I don't know why, but it's a regular request at our house.
I can honestly say I have not listened to Moana in Korean, but now I will probably be looking at that after this.
It's pretty okay, yeah.
I have been listening to, actually, the last few things I've been listening to has actually been classical music. Gustav Holst, A Planet's
Mars is like,
yeah.
What a grand movement.
Yeah. Jupiter is my favorite. Jupiter's my favorite. So for high holidays, Matthew, what do you think you're going to talk about for high holidays this year?
I was going to wing it.
Yeah.
No. There have been a few sort of topics and sermons that have been banging around in my head for a little while. One is what we learned about ourselves and our community in the last year. The Jewish community has, for so long, centered its engagement around physical spaces, that when we couldn't gather in those physical spaces, it forced us to think differently. And it would be a real loss to lose those lessons we've learned. And to not use them to deepen our connection and to think about things differently. The other piece I'm really thinking about how we gather, not just as the community, but what Judaism looks like moving forward. The loudest voices tend to be the more extreme. And of course, if you're hearing just the extreme voices, you're not going to want to really feel close to organized religion and what we can do to really shout the love, so to speak, be the loudest of the acceptance voices. The third I've been thinking of comes out of I have a chance to study with a colleague through our study of Pirkei Avot, what it means to be inscribed in the book of life. And when we think about God writing our names in a book, it feels pretty far away and disconnected. But when we can think about it not as God writing our names, but our actions writing the book of the future, how this year is going to go based on what we've written in our actions, if we can find some more, meaning in that.
Yeah. Those are all really good subjects. They're really philosophical.
I guess so.
Yeah, no, I love philosophy. It's the wrestling with philosophical deep questions is something that I really appreciate doing. Is there a particular text or something that has been grounding for you as you ask these questions about the whys and the hows and what will happen next?
There are a couple of grounding texts that I feel are really helpful for folks like you and me. I'm sure it's a book you're aware of, if not have read a bunch of times. It's Ron Wolfson's book, Relational Judaism.
It's actually literally right here.
I had a feeling it'd be close by.
Yeah.
That's really helpful. to kind of ground what it is we're doing. But also listening to my colleagues and hearing their creativity and what they're doing, and hearing from folks who are not engaged with Judaism but are Jewish and want to be engaged but just don't feel like they have an area to be, listening to those voices when I can find them is really helpful to me to help understand how I want my message to be heard and who I want the message, who I want it to be heard by. I don't know where any of us would be. Like, we each individually, I don't know where each one of us would have been without a community, and I don't know where any of our communities would have been without a larger community showing us all up in this last year. And I think that's something we can't lose, and that's really important.
So other than Ron Wolfson's book, are there other places where you would direct people to sort of think about some of these big questions you're thinking about for Rosh Hashanah?
Yeah, just in general, for getting into the spirit of Rosh Hashanah, there's a book by the name is Craig Taubman. It's called Jewels of Elul. Essentially, it's learned people who are sharing lessons they've learned to kind of to dwell on as they prepare, in the month of Elul, as we prepare for high holidays. To be honest, also, I don't have it right next to me. The High Holiday Machzor by the Reform Movement, called Mishkan HaNefesh, the new one. It's got great liturgy in it, but honestly, what I love most is the meditative readings. And there's so much to be found that we'd be shortchanging ourselves if we only use it during services.
Yeah.
So it actually really has a lot.
If I'm a Wellnick or somebody around the well, young adult in the area, watching this right now, how might I get involved? How might I find myself at your high holiday experience?
Absolutely. So there are a few ways that folks can engage this year with Temple Emanu-El. We are gathering as of recording right now, so that's just a disclaimer. For those who are fully vaccinated, are welcome to join us in person in our sanctuary. You can also get the link and join us all on Zoom from the comfort of wherever you are, especially if you're not nearby or it's right after Labor Day, you may be even traveling home. So that will enable anybody to join us by Zoom throughout the every service we have is available by Zoom.
Right on.
Yeah. Tickets are not necessary. We welcome guests.
Right on. Well, Matt, it is good to see your face, and it is good to talk with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's an opportunity I wouldn't have missed.
Thank you.